Bitcoin has been performing very strongly over the last weeks, and it really begs the question, can we actually hit levels like $30,000, or are we still in a kind of bear market that's leading into a bear trap of sorts, or like, what's the deal? And I think this is worth a really deep dive, because right now we're at 24.5K, right? Everyone's really excited. You know, you already know the deal. I've been looking at things like the Fear and Greed Index for a while. We're basically just flatlining at a reading of like 60 right now. You know, we're in a situation where people are fairly optimistic with the market, right? I mean, it seems like a given that like it's only a matter of time until we break 25, we hit 30 and so on. And I agree with that sentiment. I've been saying this since we were down here, not even here, where was it? Since we were down here in the $15,000, $16,000, $17,000 range, that I think Bitcoin is able to get up this high. And so this whole rally wasn't surprising to me, but now that we're kind of here and it seems a little bit more real, I want to really tackle these questions almost from a point of view that's a little bit more theory. Because here's the thing, I definitely obviously think that Bitcoin has a lot of potential to get up to levels like $30,000, but I also understand quite firmly, quite a lot, that, you know, Bitcoin loves to you know, reach things that are just shy of our targets. For example, bottoming out at 15.5K makes no fucking sense to me. It makes no sense at all. If we look historically, we actually, to be fair, we had a little bit of consolidation right here on our way up back in November of 2020. We had basically nothing back in 2017 and 2018. No real, you know, maybe if you're generous, a couple candle closes and opens, but really nothing going on at the 15.5K range. But you know, a level that would have made a lot more sense if we bounced off it would have been right here at 14K. Look at all the price interactions around this line, taking it back to 2019. Look, we topped out right here, taking it back to 2020. We found some resistance here, although it's very similar to what we found up here. You know, so 14K would have made a lot more sense for the market to bottom, but we didn't get there, right? We stopped just shy. And that's something that Bitcoin does all the time. You look at the high that Bitcoin set, and we didn't top out at $70,000 or $75,000, you know, very nice big round numbers like that. No, we topped out at 69,000, and at that we got above 69 as well, depending on which chart you're looking at. Actually, on this chart, the absolute high was 69K, but you know, depending on what you look at, we even stopped at like 69,420. You know, but we're not stopping at the exact numbers, and I think that's something which is important to keep in mind. You know, when everyone's thinking 30K, do we actually come up, grab liquidity at 28.5 and then drop back down, for example? I think that this is still a very real possibility. I know that a lot of people are actually very bullish on the market right now, like very, very bullish. And you know, what's concerning me about that is, like, I totally see why you'd be very bullish. I think there's really good reason to be particularly bullish at a time like this. You know, it just looks like this is a good window of opportunity for the market to flip from being, you know, overall very bearish for many months and years to now being bullish. I think it's a great time to consider ideas like that. But I also know that within, you know, a long-standing bear market, it's totally expected to get multiple rallies to the upside. You know, multiple rallies that look very convincing, you know, that end up eventually failing, and then you kind of continue, and then, you know, you mount another attack after some more time. That's very normal. And we're in a, you know, Bitcoin's becoming more of a normal market now as well. I mean, you know, it's still very, very volatile. Crazy shit still happens and will still happen. We probably haven't seen, you know, we're probably going to see a lot more crazy shit going on for Bitcoin in its future. But at the same time, to follow, you know, your standard, you know, almost principles of a bear market, where we have bear market rallies, you know, where this can end up kind of dropping down here and we just kind of sideways for a year, and then, you know, we have a rally like this and a rally like this, but none of these actually take hold and we continue on. You know, makes a lot of sense. You know, the fact that so many people are really fucking bullish right now, you know, to me makes a fair bit of sense that actually this might not last. Like, this is really capturing a lot of people's beliefs. And I don't have a full conclusion here. Like, I'm just kind of freestyling to the camera right now with you guys talking about this chart. I mean, we know that the $30,000 level is important for Bitcoin, you know, and has been for quite some time as support, and then also as resistance. And so it makes so much sense that we managed to get up there. You know, it might even make sense that we deviate above it. And that's where I was getting the $40,000 target from, is, you know, we could have quite a strong deviation above it. We could get to 37, 38. I would still count that as being right about my 40K prediction. And then come back down. This would be a hell of a deviation and also a great continuation for the bear market. You know, because while I said that, you know, that there's a lot going in the favor of bulls, people that are long-term bullish in this market, you know, still none of the things that have actually put Bitcoin in this position, like for example a weakened economy, extreme levels of inflation, higher interest rates, and you know these are the main things. Like it's none of it's actually to do with Bitcoin, but these are the main things that, in my opinion, have really soured the atmosphere for Bitcoin investing. And if you're new to this channel, the reason I'm saying that is purely because when we've got reasons, like when we've got factors like what I just outlined, economy, inflation, interest rates, that are kind of not in our favor, what that's going to do, you know, at the end of the day, is just make people less inclined to take risk. Okay, and if people are less inclined to take risk, they're going to be less inclined to press the green button on any asset that they deem to be risky. And of course, we already know that Bitcoin is probably the most risky asset out there. So it kind of sours the atmosphere. And my point is that I don't think any of these things have actually been fixed yet. The economy is still down the shitter. You know, there are many examples that you can give for why that's not the case, with people traveling and spending money and stuff like that. But we know the deal. Overall, things are pretty bad for a lot of people in the world right now. Interest rates are still going up. I feel like we're forgetting that. Interest rates are still going up. Inflation has tapered off, but I don't know if it's actually like ready to start getting better again. I'm not seeing any signs that that's going to happen either. So to me, it seems like this is almost like, you know, I don't know about the economy one, that's a lot harder to measure, but interest rates, for example, not rising up as quickly is transient. Like that doesn't really mean much. You know, it's almost like, and this is the reason that I'm so unsure of, like, you know, massive bull market right now, is it's almost like we've been given a little glimmer of hope, like a little bit to be happy about. And we ought to be happy about it, because, you know, you take what you get in markets like this. What I'm not saying is don't fucking be in Bitcoin and don't enjoy this rally up and don't make any money on the way up, you know, and only be perma short or anything like that. I mean, that's not even what I'm doing, right? I've been in Bitcoin ever since the bottom. And those of you that have been following me closely, those of you that are inside my VIP group, you're going to know the deal. My only goal throughout all of this has been to maximize my Bitcoin holdings, right? I mean, I'm definitely enjoying this rally as much as the next guy, but at the same time, it feels like nothing really has been fixed, but we've been given a little bit to kind of latch onto, to feel happy about, that ultimately hasn't actually changed the scope of this market yet. But at the same time, the market is responding like, you know, it's a really big deal. You know, we've pumped up by 60%, you know, within like a 3-month time period, basically off the lows. This is a pretty significant pump. You know, we've broken key signs of resistance on this chart. We even basically, yeah, we touched that high again just very recently, but we're flirting with a cycle high right now. I mean, this is a big deal if we're able to get above it. We're doing really bullish stuff off what starting point? You know, that's my question is, you know, whatever made Bitcoin weak enough to get down here in the first place hasn't really changed. And that's why I'm posing these questions. That's why I'm asking these questions. And, you know, the good thing about all of this is no matter what happens, it's going to be so tradable. I mean, this range is amazing as a trader. You know, if we do actually get up to 30K, like I've said many times, you're looking at like a 17% range. That's absolutely enormous. If we get rejected and we come back down to the 25K level, you're looking at something similar, right? Probably a little bit less, but it depends on where you draw it from. In this case, a 20% range. These are huge. Right? To trade a 20% range on just 5 times leverage, you're already making plus 100% profit. That's enormous, right? So as a trader, there's a lot of opportunities here. Not even there, you know, if we drop below a support level here at 21.5, you know, we're probably going to drop down to like 19K. I think that's fair to say, just the bottom of this range where we were finding support. It's another 11% range. Like, it almost doesn't matter what Bitcoin does at this stage. You know, if we get rejected off this high and come back down to this range that we were just finding support in, we're still, you know, it's a 7%. These are big percentage moves. They might not seem like it, but again, 7% move on 5 times leverage is 35% profit. Like, that's a lot of money. 10K turns into 13.5. That's a lot of money, you know, to be potentially making on such small price moves, which is what makes me really optimistic as a trader, right? I mean, there's just so much going on that it doesn't matter what happens with the price. But at the same time, if we're looking for long-term direction, we need to know how to position ourselves. because, you know, yes, I want to trade it if it goes up or trade it if it goes down, but I also want to know that if we do get up to a level like 30K, that I can hedge if I think that the market might start going south, or if there's a risk of it happening. And I think that's also an important discussion to have. I want to remind you guys that with all of these opportunities I've been outlining on these markets, OKX is a brilliant exchange to get on and take advantage of it. They are offering you, as a viewer of my YouTube channel, up to $30,000 in rewards, and you get the first 10K just by signing up, a mystery box worth up to 10K, but you can boost that with a second mystery box up to 10K if you just deposit $50, and you can boost that up to 30K by starting to trade on OKX, one of the exchanges that's been around for the longest time in this space. They were absolutely huge, still are absolutely huge in the Korean markets, now breaking out into the West. Phenomenal exchange, been around for a super long time, and they are now supporting this YouTube channel as well. So if that's something that you think would be interesting to you, help yourself out, help your boy out as well, just go check them out, get the free bonuses. That's really all I care about for you. If you want to trade on it, cool. If you don't, it doesn't really matter. But check it out for the free rewards anyway, because to be able to have that kind of stuff going behind you right now in this market is a pretty cool opportunity, obviously, as well as we could potentially be looking at rallying up, you know, and closing some really, really nice gaps. And so it also kind of begs the question of, well, you know, if we get to 30K, could we hit levels like 40? Could we hit levels like 50? You know, I've seen 50K floating around on YouTube today. And, you know, I wouldn't put it completely off the cards. Even if we're still in a bear market, I wouldn't completely, you know, deny it. And the reason for that is, you know, I think if we look at this rally here, the obvious place for this bear market rally to stop would have been 6K, you know, and the equivalent for that right now for Bitcoin is going to be here at 30K, in my opinion, right? The obvious place for Bitcoin to stop rallying up would be 30K. But on this occasion, we went basically 3 times higher than that, or like 2.5 times higher than that, you know, up to $14,000. And it was actually very close to the high. Right, like a comparable level to that, in my opinion, would look like, you know, 47K, getting up to this high, which is such an important place on the chart. If you were watching my YouTube channel back then, you're going to remember I would have had lines drawn around these levels. But actually, my line was a little bit higher at like 48K. Basically the same thing. I mean, we're very close to 50K, you know, kind of price targets at this stage. And I think that it makes a lot of sense that, you know, kind of like what we did last time, we could massively overshoot this and still be in a market that eventually trends downwards again. We don't have to, right? We could just as easily find support off here and it's happy days. I mean, we're just off into the sunset from there, looking at 70, 90K Bitcoins and yacht parties and Ibiza again and all that cool stuff. And obviously that's what I want. I'm not here to try and say, hey, let me fuck up your day with another YouTube video. That's not what I'm here for. You know, but I think that it makes a lot of sense even if we stay bearish, that we break through the obvious, because this is the thing, is this is obvious risk. Like if there's anything Bitcoin does pretty like annoyingly consistently, is if you have an area that's extremely obvious in terms of probably being resistance, especially resistance, it doesn't tend to work very well for Bitcoin. You know, and it doesn't actually tend to provide a lot of resistance. You know, we got a very little bit here. We got a very little bit in this range over here that I was talking to you guys about. Is it possible that, you know, and we actually struggled more when the resistance became lighter, in my opinion. You know, I mean, like, I didn't necessarily think that there was going to be this much resistance at the 23K range. I thought more resistance would have been at the 21 point, you know, whatever range, the FTX high. But it wasn't. You know, it ended up being a little bit higher. So it's another reason that I'm thinking, you know, either, and I've been saying this for a while, like either we don't even reach 30K, either we stop at like 28, you know, which is kind of similar to what we did last time, right? When we fell down to this low and then we started looking at 25, it actually looked very obvious that we were going to get up to 30. It was probably the most obvious thing Bitcoin could have done, but it didn't happen. We stopped well shy of it at 25K. Now, is it possible that we just kind of punch in a higher high, you know, and then end up trending lower again, you know, before we even get to 30? I think it's more possible than actually hitting 30K, to be honest. And I think another thing that's more possible than just hitting 30K and getting rejected is that we surpass it pretty quickly. You know, maybe we top at like 33, 34 before having some sort of pullback, before just maybe a time-based correction where the price doesn't even drop, but we just kind of trade sideways. These are the kind of things that I'm actually going to be placing as a higher possibility for Bitcoin than, you know, the more, you know, cookie cutter, like, you know, we hit 30K, get rejected kind of thing that everyone's talking about. And that's why I'm very much on board with the idea of, you know, 40K Bitcoin, maybe even something substantially higher, But still, you know, I mean, you know, we don't have to look further than literally just the last major cycle that we had in this market where we did the same thing, you know, and I think that's something really important to keep in mind at this stage, because, you know, one of the key reasons I feel compelled to make this video and have this discussion with you, and this is a discussion, I want to know what you think in the comment section down below, is one of the key reasons for this is, you know, I'm seeing a lot of people that, like smart people, people that I admire with their analysis and so on, that are really sure that the first fucking bull run that we've had within this bear market is the one, you know, that are really positive. I mean, I'm not saying that they're, you know, going on the record and saying, you know, XYZ is definitely going to happen, but they're very fucking convinced overall. You can tell. You don't even have to like try and read between the lines. Like, they're straight up telling you, you know, that they are really convinced with the fact, and it makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. But again, what I really, you know, and I've pointed this out before, those of you that have been watching this channel for a while, you're going to remember, what I really want you to keep in mind is when we're looking at market cycles like this, you know, with the Wall Street cheat sheet, this is a great, oh man, let me just open this in a new tab. This is a great thing that I want to draw your attention to, is when we have, you know, these disbelief rallies, this is generally what comes last, right? You could say that, like, I'm the guy in disbelief right now. But here's the thing, guys, is that this disbelief rally happens a lot. You know, we get a lot of disbelief rallies. And I'm not just saying this out of my ass. Take a look at what happened last time in the cycle before 2017. We bottomed over here in January of 2015, but then we had a rally and it didn't work. And then we had a rally and it didn't work. And then we had a rally and it temporarily didn't work, but then it actually turned into something big. And what I'm saying is that what we have right now, and by the way, we look at it with percentage, and look, I know the market's way bigger now. So, you know, an 80% move here is like pulling a 200% move now. Did I say that right? It's probably more like pulling a 40% move now. Basically, the market's less volatile, but, you know, we had a really good rally here. You know, and no doubt there were people that probably thought the market was going to end, and here as well, but it didn't work out in both cases. This was a disbelief rally, this was a disbelief rally, this was a disbelief rally, and basically this is the one that stuck. It was only the last one. And that's why I'm pointing this stuff out to you, is like, who's to say that we don't do something similar again? Who's to say that this doesn't turn into this, which turns into this, which turns into this, you know, and then we're fine, you know, at the end of 2023. For example, right? I just don't want to be on the same side as, like, when I actually become very bullish and start thinking that, you know, the market for sure is out of the fucking trenches and we're not going back to them, I want to be disagreeing with everybody. Like, I don't want to feel like it's kind of easy to find people that agree with me. Like, I want it to be a case where it's fucking hard to find anyone that agrees with what I'm saying. You know, that's how I felt when we were down here. I felt like it was hard to find anyone that actually was like, you know what, Sammy, yeah, you got a good point. Everyone was like, this is the end. We're definitely revisiting, you know, the sub 10K region. We're definitely going down to 12. And that's why I was so sure in my prediction that Bitcoin's going to go up towards 30K and 40K and so on. Certainly above 20. You know, and I can't have that same feeling right now talking about Bitcoin, you know, like even doing something like this and then carrying on upwards. I don't even see this happening at the moment. I don't. And I mean, you know, if we get above levels like 30K and then we come back down, like, yeah, I might change my mind by then. I probably will, let's be honest. But you know, just as it is right now, I just feel like it almost seems a little bit too obvious, right? I don't know. I'm just, like I said, I'm just having a conversation with you guys. I'm talking to you about what the big possibilities that I'm seeing for Bitcoin are. And this is important because, to be honest, you know, like around this range, I might be looking to exit a bit of my Bitcoin. Nothing serious, you know, like I've been saying for a long time. I mean, this is common knowledge. Like, I basically only have Bitcoin. I don't really have any money in the real world. You know, so just fucking living expenses, you know, to liquidate a little bit would make sense. And I've been this way since I mean, 2018, you know, I've been living like this and I have no problem with it. Most of my friends that are very wealthy are exactly the same that are in the crypto space. I mean, you know, we get the deal. You know, being in Bitcoin is definitely safer than being in the dollar, in my opinion. I just like it. You know, from a philosophical standpoint, if nothing else, you know, I really am a Bitcoin maxi. I don't show that to you guys on these videos, obviously, because it's not relevant. But I'm pretty Bitcoin maxi, to be honest, guys. You know, so that's obviously something that's that's on my mind as well. You know, just as a little bit of an exit, right? I mean, it just kind of makes sense. You know, take some profits at the very least. You know, but if it looks like, you know, people are just way too bullish when we get to 30K, well, that's going to strengthen my viewpoint that actually it might make sense to offload a bit of Bitcoin down here. I mean, up there. You know, and potentially the opposite, where actually if we kind of slowly grind it up and everyone's like, well, this definitely isn't going to last and we're just going to find resistance, and we see things like the long and short ratio massively skewed towards the short side, too many people taking on short positions and so on, then I'll think, you know what, like I might still take a little bit of profit off the table, but I might also, you know, limit how much profit taking I do right now until we get to some higher levels. These are the kind of things that will influence my long-term plays, and every play that I make, whether it's long-term or short-term, gets shared inside of VIP. I want you guys to check it out if it's something that you're interested in, where you can learn everything I know about trading from myself with a video course. I literally tell you everything I know, the theory of it, within that trading course. And then VIP is where you can see the practical implication of that. I'm sorry, the practical application of that, where everything that you've learned, you know, actually gets applied in real life right in front of you in the very same market that you're looking at. You can watch how I'm doing it as well, which is very, very cool. And at the very same time, you have got, like I said, up to 30K in rewards available on OKEx. You have up to 30K available on Bybit as well when you head on over to the rewards hub. Again, both links are in the description, and up to 7K on Prime XBT with access to indices, commodities, and Forex as well, which is very, very cool. You know, combined 30, 60, 67K in bonuses, literally just by signing up and using my links in the description to get started on trading platforms that I love, that I'm using myself as well anyway. Super, super cool opportunities. And again, you know, with everything that's going on in the market, there's never been a better time to actually take advantage of what these exchanges are giving you. So definitely check all three of them out. Like I said, OKEx's draw is actually particularly appealing because you don't even really have to deposit anything crazy to qualify for up to 20K in rewards, which is pretty damn ridiculous. But there you go. It's there. Take advantage of it while you can. I really hope you've enjoyed this one. If you have, you know exactly what to do. Hit up the likes, subscribe, tick the bell, do all that good stuff, and I'll see you all in the next one. Cheers.